We had a ding-dong battle in the wind at the RDS. My name's Mark. Let's talk rugby. Stormers really started this one on the front foot. In defence, they had great line speed, putting a lot of pressure on, had a lot of the ball as well, and also putting pressure on when they were on attack as well. Leinster giving away penalties. Milne gets himself pinged for a high tackle, and then Lebock opens the scoring from the tee. It's 3-0 to the Stormers. Well-deserved lead for them. Leinster then try to respond. They go through the phases in the Stormers' half. McGrath, with a nice dummy, makes a break, but then the Stormers, with a great counter ruck, force a penalty, and they're able to clear. Scott Penny then gets pinged for offside. Stormers decide to kick to the corner. It's a big chance for them, but the line-out goes awry. They do, though, come again. They have some big carries from the likes of Malherbe, gets them into position, and Lebock goes for a drop goal. But the wind takes that one to the right and wide. The wind was crazy, like it's kind of wintry weather in Dublin for this one. Very, it was very strong in the first half, especially swirling a lot as well, and made it very difficult for kickers and for anyone trying to catch the ball as well. Larmour then, he slips and knocks on a kick through. So, again, kind of lost the flight of the ball, I think. Lost his footing as well, trying to readjust. Knocks the ball, and it's another good position for the Stormers. Stormers then, they strike from the back of the scrum to get the big men carrying. Weber goes close to the line. Then ball out to the back to Lebock. Sells a lovely dummy and then dances his way through the defence. Nobody puts a hand on him. Great feat from him. Scores under the post. He converts his own try. It's 10-0 to the Stormers. At this stage, I'm thinking, can Leinster respond to this? Because it's all Stormers at this stage. Again, the swirling wind is, making life difficult for both back threes. Leinster to get a scrum just outside the Stormers 22 after Lebock, punts downfield, but the ball just kept on going and going. Eventually it goes dead, so we come back for the scrum. Leinster, some decent carries from the likes of Penny and Ruddock, but the Stormers' defence again holds strong, and Byrne is forced to try a kick through, but that goes dead. Stormers can clear. Leinster, they're kind of finding it hard at this stage to get into the game, but all credit has to go to some fantastic defence from the Stormers. They then try to play the ball out of their own 22, but the ball goes to deck. We have a TMO check for a deliberate knock-on by Sanatla. They're looking for a possible yellow, but it's a penalty. It's the right decision. Leinster then, they kick that upfield. They're on attack. Frawley, though, drops a pass in midfield. Like the pass to him wasn't great, but he drops it. Lebock pounces on it, breaks upfield. He gets chased down by, I think it was Larmour, so he pops it off to Hartzenberg, who goes over to score. It's converted 17-0, and Leinster are in real trouble at this stage. Leinster are on attack as the half is coming to a close. We've seen them so many times scoring points just before halftime and just after halftime is where they break a lot of teams. But here now it's just looking for some kind of response before the break. Frawley with a kick through, it leads to a 5-metre defensive line into the Stormers. Dweber overthrows, and Jenkins is first there to the ball to claim it for Leinster. They're pounding away at the line. Stormers are keeping them out, but they are conceding penalty advantages. And then they finally get over after a pop pass from Penny allows Mill to crash over. The conversion is missed. Halftime score is 17-5. And what a half that was from the Stormers. Really, really good from them. Into the second half then, Dweber is pinged for offside from a kick, Basically, it was an up and under. It was held up in the wind, and he just didn't retreat. Byrne then kicks to the corner. Penny then they go to the maul from the line out. Penny breaks off and crashes over for the score within a few minutes of the restart. Conversions missed. We're at 17-10. Leinster then, they start getting their kicking game going, and they're using the strong wind to pin the Stormers in their own half. Byrne kicks a lovely 50-22, and Leinster, they go through the phases from the line out. They're beginning to make some ground now with their carries, and they are committing more defenders as well. Stormers offside, Leinster decide to kick to the corner. So they take the 5 meter line out. It's actually nicked by Kitsov at the front of the line. He then makes a run and pops it off to Daimani, who breaks down the wing. Great break from him. And he goes within a few meters of the line. He gets caught, and then he pops it off. Leinster managed to, I think it was Frawley who caught the great try-saving try from him, or tackle from him. Then Russell gets over the ball. Leinster win the penalty. I thought for all the world that it was going to be a try, and maybe that would have been like it for Leinster's comeback. Daimani, we've seen him before, especially this season, making those breaks, and most of the time they actually lead to a try. So Leinster's defence did really well there to stop that happening. Leinster then, they punt downfield, and Blomackies knocks it on again like the wind playing havoc. Turner gets the loose ball first, Maloney with a good carry, and then Mill puts Russell over in the corner. The touchline conversion is missed. We're at 17-15. Leinster coming back strong at this stage. Byrne then kicks another 50-22. We have some handbags. There was a couple of occasions where we had a bit of a set to. Referee calms it down. We get on with the game. Leinster go with the maul from the line out. They're driving towards the line, but the Stormers bring them down illegally. Hartzenberg gets himself a yellow. I couldn't see on the replay. They said in the commentary as well, maybe it was mistaken identity for him, but he gets himself 10 minutes in the bin. Leinster tapped the penalty, and Deegan is able to go over, and for the first time in the game, they hit the lead. It's converted out wide by Byrne as well. It's 22-17. Stormers then, they're trying to respond, but at this stage they're kind of forcing it a bit. They're making errors. They were very slick up to this point, but seem to be kind of just trying to force the pass a little bit too much. Will Connors is on. He gets pinged for offside. It's in front of the post and is kickable, but the Stormers decide they're going to go to the corner. Feels like a big moment in the game. Leinster claps them all illegally. We're playing advantage to the Stormers. They work their way infield under the post, and then they go back again out wide. Blomackies it was a lovely kick through, and Blomackies, he beats Dave Carney to the ball to score. The conversion is missed, but we are tied up now at 22 all. Very clever kick in behind there to I think it was LeBoc. I'm not sure, but Blomackies did really well to get in there. The URC website, official website, actually initially credited Hartzenberg with the try, which would have been some doing from him because he was still sitting in the sim bin at that stage. But they corrected it about a minute or two later. But he comes back on then, so Stormers back up to the full complement, really managed the yellow card well and actually won that period. From there then, Leinster, they're on attack. They have penalty advantage. They decide to go for the crossfield kick. It bounces kind of awkwardly, but Sinatla is able to get there just before Russell. He grounds and back become for the penalty. Harry Byrne decides to go for the post. He hits the post, and we're still all square. It was so close with that one. If it had it just gone the other side of the post, it may have gone in. Stormers then, they finish the game on attack, but then Russell gets in to nick the ball, and it's a testament to how good the Stormers were that immediately then Leinster kick it off the field to end the game. 22-all draw, a really fair result. I thought, Stormers were fantastic in the first half. Leinster responded really well to that, and then Stormers, they didn't let Leinster pull away from them when they got their noses in front. Now, let's have a look at some stats from the game. So we're going to start with attack. So tries, 4 tries to 3. So Leinster got the bonus point out of this one. Possession was 63-37. Initially, like the first kind of 10 minutes or so, like it was all Stormers. They had most of the ball. And it was only, when Leinster started coming back, really, that they started to dominate possession. Clean breaks then, 1 for Leinster, 3 for the Stormers. Like, 2 of those, you had the one where Lebock broke and then popped it off to Hartzenberg to score. And then another memorable one was obviously that Daimani one down the wing as well, which really could have been a score that won them the game. Defenders beaten, 20 for Leinster, 19 for the Stormers. Both teams, when they were hot on attack, really stretching the defences. We saw some really good steppers out there. I talked about Lebock already. And also like Blommakeys for them. We also had Larmour for Leinster as well, doing some great stepping too. In terms of offloads then, 8-6 to Leinster. Onto defence then, territory was 64% Leinster, 36 to the Stormers. That really turned around in the second half when Leinster had the wind with them and they got that kicking game going. Number of tackles then, 113 for Leinster, 1 in 89 for Stormers. Really good defensive shift from them to make it so difficult for Leinster to get themselves back into the game. Missed tackles, 18 for Leinster, 20 for the Stormers. Tackle success, 86% for each of the teams. So it's kind of, it's kind of around average for the URC, but with 2 great attacks on display as well, it's a fairly respectable number. Turnovers 1 then, 4 for Leinster and 3 for the Stormers. Some of those turnovers were very critical, like Stormers, when Leinster, before they got their first try, Stormers turned them over a few times, and then Leinster, obviously, that big one there where Frawley got in the tackle and Russell got over the ball just when they'd prevented what looked like a certain try. In terms of kicking then, 1 kick success for Leinster. Lebock, he's been great all season from the tee, and he continued it here. 3 successes from him in really tough conditions. Penalties then, 8 for Leinster and 10 for the Stormers. Penalties, gave both teams some good ins in the game, but also just because of the great defence on both sides as well, the penalties didn't necessarily guarantee that there was going to be a score at the end of it. Okay, so Leinster, from their point of view, 100% record is gone, but they're at least still unbeaten so far this season, and they have now secured top seeding, top spot. It was kind of it was a case of when rather than if that they would get that, but now that they have, it probably means that we're going to see a weakened team go on the South Africa tour for the last 2 rounds, very similar to what we saw last year. Now that when we got to the knockout stages, it didn't actually work out too well for Leinster. For the Stormers then, really great effort from them. They did well to get back level after Leinster's comeback, and now they've edged themselves closer to tying up second place.